Okay, it's time again for my year-end book reviews. And this year for you, I have some true crime, some mysteries, a Jane Austen book, one must-read fantasy anthology as well. So stay tuned, and we'll start with some honorable mentions. These are two books that I am still reading. So they haven't got to quite the review stage yet, but I'm enjoying them so far, and I want to give them a little plug. So here we go. They're A Peddler in Chains, which is book 2 of the Mountain Fell series, and Children of Cathaldi. This is the first book in the series by Ron L. Lar. So if you like satirical fantasy with an unreliable narrator, you'll love Children of Cathaldi. If you like romantic fantasy that's a little kinky, you'll like the Mountain Fell series. I highly recommend that one. Love the first book and the short story prequel. So I'm currently enjoying the second book as well. So those two are my honorable mentions. All right. So most of this year, I was reading mysteries and not fantasy, which is my usual go-to books. But I was in a mystery true crime mood this year, so I read quite a few short little easy to read true crime. Well, if you like true crime, easy to read books. And here we go. I read a couple of the true crime story time volumes. Uh, the true crime stories you won't believe, and the Doctor from Hell, which was a very interesting account of a doctor who murdered his patients. So yeah, I enjoyed all of them. They're about 3 to 4 star reads, and they're really quick, really enjoyable if you like true crime. So that's those. And I also read a few mysteries this year. I read a couple of the Gadville. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Mysteries. This is the latest one I read, The Potter's Field. They're historical mysteries. A little old school because they were written a few decades ago, but I still enjoyed them. They're still good historical mysteries. So if you like that, give them a try. And I also read a cozy mystery series this year, The Midworth Mysteries. This is book 1, A Shot in the Dark. It's a cute little historical cozy mystery about a couple that gets pulled into solving mysteries after World War II. So it's fun read, pretty good. I gave it 4 stars. So yeah, excellent. And this is another true crime novel. It's the Peyton Place murder. Now, if anyone is way back in the 70s, they remember the Peyton Place TV show and Peyton Place the book. This is actually the story behind the writing of the book and the true life murder that inspired the Peyton Place book. And actually was very interesting, very fascinating read. I enjoyed that one quite a bit. And in July, I sort of unofficially did Jane Austen July for the YouTube uh, book tag thing, and I read one of the few main Jane Austen books I haven't read, which is Mansfield Park. I enjoyed that. I think the one of the characters in there is the worst villain ever written, and I want her eyes pecked out by a chicken. But I enjoyed the book. So now we're on to the two fantasy books I read this year. One of them is a Regency fantasy. It's not quite a Regency romance fantasy, but it was enjoyable. It was sweet. It was light and fluffy, and everything you want from a Regency book and a Regency fantasy book. And this was Snow Spelled by Stephanie Burgess. I highly recommend this. It's the first book in the Harwood Spellbook series, and I will be reading the rest of the series at some point, but I really enjoyed book 1, and I highly recommend it. Now we are on to the best book of the year that I read, and frankly, it's the best book I've read in ages. Not that other books I've read haven't been good, but this one blew me away. I loved it. I cannot recommend it enough. And if you do read it though, bring the Kleenex because it will make you cry at some point. And this is a fantasy anthology. It's the several top fantasy authors wrote stories for it, and it's called The Alchemy of Sorrow. Beautiful cover there, and it is beautiful. It's touching. It's um, characters are wonderful. It just pulls you right in, and you cannot stop reading it. Like I said, I cannot recommend this book enough. It's a must read for fantasy lovers, and go out and buy it. And that's all I can say about it. It just I just it's a 5-star book for me, and I don't give 5 stars very often, but this is definitely a 5-star book for me. So that is the list of books I read this year. I'm not a big reader these days. I used to be, but things get in the way these days with my writing and then the various crises that happened this year. So I did manage to get my Goodreads reading challenge done, which was 12 books, and I did manage to get 12 books done. I may get even a couple of more in before the end of the year, fingers crossed. So I'm happy with my reading year. Hopefully, I'll do a little better next year. And so that's all for Eclectic Reviews. Have yourself a good day. Bye.